Shalom, call Allah Yahweh Abishai, Bahashem Rakakadash, double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS, salutations to the Akim that are doing this work in truth and sincerity, to the confusion of face Akim that are joined into our ranks. Alright, they go on the highways and byways doing this work for the Lord, risking their lives and their freedom to do so. The hopeful elect and the Akwaf that are listening to you, I say Shalom. Couple videos I'm going to profile. One by the sister Lisa Carrera. I love the sister's spirit, man. I really do. And then by the brother B. Miles. You know, both have come to the understanding that they're Israelites. You know, I can tell by some of the things that they've said, that they've mentioned. You know, I've only really heard Lisa mention scripture once, and the scripture, you know, and remember the scriptures are manyfold and twofold. And the scripture that she was using, which you'll probably hear it, because I'm not exactly sure where it is in the video. She used Zechariah, I believe it's 14 or 13. Let me find it real quick. The scripture about the 2/3. So I'll just jump right to that right away. Then let the video play and do my commentary. But let's go to Zechariah, because she brought out the information that basically 2/3 of the so-called white population worldwide is dying. She gives you all the stats and the information where it's coming from. That's what makes her videos so intriguing and so dynamic, is how she provides the sources where this information is coming from. All right, so we really are watching the fall of Esau, Edom, of the Edomites. Okay, we're witnessing their destruction. And it's 13. Here we go. Yeah, it's Zechariah 13, 8, and 9, and it reads. And it shall come to pass that in all the land, saith Yahweh, 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die, but the third shall be left therein. And I will bring the third part through the fire, and will refine them as silver is refined, and try them as gold is tried. And they shall call on my name, and I will hear them. And I will say, it is my people, and they shall say, Yahweh is my power. So that scripture is really referring to the 2/3 of our own people that are going to die because they're unbelievers. And she does make criticism to those who are unbelievers, as she should, because the scriptures does say we will mock. You know, we're going to mock at them because they mock us for telling the truth and for believing. And then when our power shows up and, you know, completes his work, you know, they're going to look really foolish. So they're going to be mocked before it is written. So, but she did have a point though, because so many people, when all these things begin to take place, are going to perish. But the elect are going to make it through this. All right. And let you know what, without any further ado, let's let her video play. You know, it's a 22-minute video. I'm probably going to let about 5 or 6 minutes play. Then play a little bit of the brother B. Miles video, and then I'm going to bring out some scriptures. So, but this is some good information for you Israelites there that are in the know and that are learning.
It's a story that came out in my San Antonio, July 21st, 2018. Declining white population is spawning fears, bias. Now, this article goes into that 2040.
This also claims so violent toward Jacob, you know, openly and publicly, and scoffing that we get on videos too. Mine has almost like tripled, and it's almost like these people are practicing, you know, and a lot of them are just ignorant, but nevertheless, they are acting sporadically.
5 BS, you know, that is just their
basically basically, I spoke over it, but she said they're talking about this is going to happen, but it's not going to happen until 2045. No, the truth is they are minorities already.
Attempt to buy more time in being in charge. They don't want to let go. They want to, stay in this position that they're not going to be able to hang on to, no matter how you look at it. Over the last 3 decades, demographers have told us that there would come a day when the white population would begin to decline. It started declining in the 1950s, ladies and gentlemen. So when I read through some of these dates, and it's not the 1950s, just know they're not telling the truth about the date. Subsequently become less than half of the U.S. population, which they already are now. The first of these expectations is now here, about a decade earlier than projected. Mid-year population projections.
And you know what? And one of the things that helped do that was feminism, bringing the woman into the workplace. Because basically, what it did was it destroyed the family unit. And now it's destroying the family units of Edomites' family units. Why? Because their women are out earning their men, and a lot of Edomite men are experiencing, and families are experiencing what our people have been going through forever. All right, being not able to take care of your family, and then with all these laws which have been set up for women, a lot of men are opting out of marriage and not having babies. All right, and then I'm speaking of mainly Edomite men, because Jake, even through all these things, can still have babies. You know, I can't think of the scripture right off the top of my head, but it says something to the effect that, when we were in Egypt, the more they afflicted us, the more we multiplied. So Jake multiplies in during bad times, and Esau is the complete opposite. Right? They're infertile and they're not having a lot of children, and most of them wait until later in life because they're chasing behind the dollar and education and all that sort of thing. And the average Jake starts their families early in their 20s. So by the time they're in their 30s, 40s, their children are practically grown. All right, and Edomites are just getting started. And that puts them behind the curve. And just on that one demographic, that one scenario right there, in the long run, what is that going to show you? That's going to show you that one people is going to clearly outpopulate another one, just off that alone.
Prepared by the U.S. Census Bureau indicate that there were nearly 32,000 fewer whites in the nation in 2017 than in 2016, a reduction of 0.02%. The white population decrease resulted from natural decline, which I believe that. So approximately 178,000 more deaths than birth. That's, it's
wow.
The genocide that they're claiming. There is no genocide. Nobody is genociding these people.
Yeah, because even what's going on in South Africa, they're having an option to leave. And you remember, they really did commit genocide on us. Although they failed, they tried, and they did kill millions and hundreds of millions of our people. They killed hundreds of millions of Native Americans, hundreds of millions of slaves during the transatlantic slave trade. And remember, the transatlantic slave trade was a triangular trade. So they were bringing slaves from the Americas back overseas. So for all you black-only Israelites, the natives actually started the slave trade. The Negroes came second, so-called. All right? You people don't know your history, man. The slave trade started with the natives in the Caribbean Sea. All right, that's what started the slave trade and started chattel slavery, the transatlantic slave trade. All right. Then many years later, they went over to West Africa and started going after Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. All right, because the Northern Kingdom was dying off at fast rates. Okay.
If it's drug addiction, then they're genociding themselves. No one outside of these people are genociding them. It's a natural decline.
It's actually a natural decline coming from the Lord. That's Deuteronomy 30 and 7. Wow, that was the spirit. I turned right to Deuteronomy just a page away. This is Deuteronomy 30 and verse 7. It says, "And Yahweh thy power will put all these curses upon thy enemies and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee." So how could the scriptures not fit us? And now it's fallen upon them. All right, because we've never persecuted them. They persecuted us. All right, well, I take that back. We did persecute them in the ancient world, but they covered up and hid that history because they never want you to know that they were under us. Saying that they were under us would also be them admitting that they were the Edomites and that were the Israelites. All right, and then they also completely lie about, the Dark Ages. All right, and so the diseases, the Black Plague was called the Black Plague because it was killing so-called black people. All right, and then there are 1,000 relics to prove that it was black people in rulership in the Holy Roman Empire, Britain, Ireland, Scotland. All right, there's 1,000 relics or more to prove that documented history. They just choose to ignore or wrote their own books and their own stories. Okay, but those plagues that took us out, and now the Lord is giving them plagues. It's opioids, meth, and many other things that are taking them out.
Though 146,000 whites migrating from outside of the country, while addition in multiracial individuals who identify white as one of their races,
you can't be multiracial.
Population gain.
You whatever your father is.
Only an increase of 144,000.
So he said, even with those false numbers, because you're whatever your father is, no one is multi-racial. All right. Whatever the seed that was planted, that's what you are. The shell that the egg that you get put into, has no bearing on your race. What that will contribute to is maybe what you look like, even sometimes skin or eye color. But the seed was already a seed. All right, it was already a living thing. Already had its own bloodline. Okay, that's why the scriptures say, the man that getteth a wife getteth a possession. That's why a woman carries her father's name until she's given to a man.
The smallest absolute change among single race and multiple race whites over the last decades. It's really not that many biracial people to make up the difference for the white deaths. Don't even think about that. It's not going to make that no difference as far as the deaths outweighing the birth. These patterns are consistent with the study that my colleague, Kenneth Johnson, from the University of New Hampshire, and I published recently.
So there's the source. This professor from the University of Hampton. This was from their studies and her studies.
Research shows that there are 26 states now that have more white deaths than births, including 9 of the largest 15 in the country: California, Florida, Pennsylvania, Ohio, North Carolina, Michigan, New Jersey, Arizona, and Massachusetts. Now, New Jersey is not a big state, but it has a very dense population here.
That's because it's right next to New York. All right, and a lot of people that work in New York, just drive right across the bridge back home into Jersey because Jersey's a little bit cheaper to live. All right, you just literally drive across a bridge, to be in a different state when you're right there, because New York's kind of like Chicago. Chicago borders Indiana, and then Wisconsin is a little less than 2 hours away. Depending on what part of Wisconsin, about an hour and 45 minutes.
Where white deaths outnumber births, have a higher share of their population being 65 and older. Remember, I told you that the white population is older and all of the other populations here are younger, and that's because their last biggest population are the baby boomers.
Right, and see, the baby boomers also had their children in their 20s, younger in life, late teens and 20s, the way things are actually supposed to be. But we live in a society now where children are an inconvenience, especially among Edomites. They don't want to have children, and when they do, it's not until they're in their late 30s or 40s they start even trying to have children. And that sort of behavior is going to eventually put you behind in the race for race. Okay? There's no way you're going to be able to keep up with people who start having children early in life. And that's something that so-called white people do not do. And it's to their own detriment. Their own systems and ways is what's destroying them and bringing their numbers down.
And the baby boomers are now the elderly among them. And after this population goes, there are no generations that follow them that are large.
There it is.
And they are dying on a regular basis now because they're the elderly. 65 and older, relatively low birth rates and a shrinking portion of women capable of giving birth.
Yep.
Put it simply, with an overall median age of 45, an aging white population produces more deaths than births.
Yep, and that's worldwide, not just here in America. That's worldwide.
Suggests don't believe the 2045 date, ladies and gentlemen. I'm telling you, they are already in the minority. This is why you're seeing all of this erratic behavior from them. They're not acting like that because they're the minority in 2045. They're acting the way that we see them act, and becoming more violent is because they are there now.
Right, and that's exactly true. They're past the point of no return. As a matter of fact, the damage has been done to where they can't reverse it now. They couldn't have enough. If every so-called white woman decided that was able to have babies now, it still wouldn't help them. It's too late for them. They're past the point of no return, so they're literally on their way out. And they're going to go out violently, kicking and screaming. They're not going to go easy. You better believe that. All right? Esau is they're a warlike people, man. Full of hate. And now that hate is really going to come out. And they're going to lash out at each other, especially their women or their men who like to get with people of color. Let's put up another video. The brother B. Miles.
Yeah, what's going on, family? It's your man B. Miles coming to you live once again with another video from the B. Miles 84 Conscious channel.
And I just watched a video of him earlier, and it's called the destruction of the Edomites, and he knows he's an Israelite, same as Lisa Cabrera. Because if you let that video go a little bit longer, she starts saying how the Most High is bringing these plagues upon them, and that we're the chosen people and that whole sort of thing. So they're both aware that they're Israelites. Okay, there's a mass awakening in consciousness of the people waking up to who they are. Who the Israelites are, and people will talk trash and say the stupid scoffing remarks and blurt out false history. But when you do your diligent research honestly, what we're saying is true and correct, and you can't get around it.
The B. Miles 84 Conscious channel. Actually, want to thank my girl Lisa Cabrera. I checked out an article of hers recently. Early this morning, I actually want to come to y'all and follow up on that video, and I'm going to call this video. They said the declining white population is spawning fears. Now we already know when they say the white population population right now is spawning fears. It is because their population right now is going down at a rapid rate that they never saw coming. They are looking at their population declining at a rapid rate that they never saw coming. And I already made a video about this 2 weeks ago, because they are saying that now, now white Americans feel they gotta take their country back, because the country right about now is being overran by people of color. In particular, so-called black people. Then of course you got Latino people and stuff like that. They number one as far as their population is they up to 58 million. And then of course, quote unquote, black America, we already up to like 49, pushing 50 million of us in the country.
Right, and truth be said, there's no such thing as black people. He is brown, his skin is brown, his jacket is black. No one's skin is that color. Alright? They're brown people, different shades, to a light brown, to a dark chocolate brown, a lot darker than him, but they're still brown. Even those dark East Indians and those dark Africans. I've seen East Indians that are darker than Africans, and they're still brown. Okay? Quick scripture. This is Obadiah 1 and 2, and it says, the vision of Obadiah, thus saith Yahweh power concerning Edom. We have heard a rumor from Yahweh, and an ambassador sent among the heathen. Arise and let us rise up against her in battle. You see the nations coming against Edom worldwide. Verse 2. Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen. Thou art greatly despised. And now they are small. Truth be said, the people with their skin color have always been the minority on the planet, because the whole world is brown, different shades of it. But now it's really showing.
See, right about now, man, that's what Public Enemy put up on their album cover. They put this the name of the album is called Fear of a Black Planet. If you don't believe me, go back and check it out.
I remember that
guy from Dr. Frances Cress Wilson, rest in peace of that sister, how she broke it down, how they fear white genetic annihilation. They really fear because their population is going down by many things. Now, of course, one of them, the opioid epidemic, is wiping them out at a rapid rate that they never saw coming. Then, of course, deaths of despair, that's wiping them out. Alcohol abuse, drug abuse, the suicide rate is at an all-time high. They dying from chronic disease, liver disease, stuff like that.
The curses are falling upon them. This is Job 14 and 5. Seeing his days are determined, the number of his months are with thee. Thou hast appointed his bounds that he cannot pass. So, Esau's only going to go so far, and he's running out of road, man. He's in a fast car, all right, approaching a barrier that he's going to run into, all right, and he can't change lanes, all right.
There's many other factors that's affecting the white population, and then of course the miscegenation. They mixed breeding with us and other races in order to keep themselves in order to keep themselves going. They gotta mix breed with other races, because
and see, that's where he's wrong, because in the eyes of the so-called white man, if you got one drop of brown blood, then you're a nigger. All right. So no, that maybe women may feel that way, because there's lots of Edomite women who like to lay with brown men. A huge majority of them do. All right, and I mean, it just is what it is. All right, and there are some brown women who lay with their enemies. All right, but those children, if a dark woman gets pregnant by an Edomite man, the child may come out dark, but it's still an Edomite, and vice versa. So there's no saving. There's really no mixing. So this is just him not being fully learned on, in the scriptures.
They really cannot reproduce within themselves. So if you got a population that's not reproducing within themselves, you best believe you're going to see some sort of white rage. That's the reason why you're seeing them act the way they are, because they feel like that they are being under siege right now. And that's the reason why spawning fears. This is going on in Europe. This is going on in all Western countries right now. In all Western countries, the white population is declining.
And that's so true. Because now with those all those Arabs and Africans and Israelites that are in Europe now, the white women are being impregnated by mainly brown men now, and their population is dwindling worldwide. It just is what it is. That's just the truth. This is Isaiah 14, verse 21 and 22. And it reads, prepare slaughter for his children for the iniquities of their fathers, that they do not rise nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. For I will rise up against them, saith Yahweh of hosts, and cut off from Babylon the name and the remnant, son and nephew, saith Yahweh. So there's going to be no males left to put seed in women to bring forth Edomites. Call Halal Yahweh Bashem Shai. Wa Abba Ball.